Alright, welcome to an interesting video. I'm going to be talking about how to get a good IV Suicune in Colosseum. Um, this is going to be the long version of a video I will make later, which will be the step-by-step, concise guide how to do this. This will be kind of a planning, preparation, work through is what my idea is. And these mechanics and ideas can be used for other legendaries as well, not just in Colosseum, but in other mainline games. Specifically Gen 3, but I think the ideas can translate across generations too. We will be referencing two... That's my notepad. We're going to be referencing we're going to be referencing one video. This is based off of two different videos. Firstly is How to Hunt for Legendaries with Good Stats by BVreeze. This video is kind of what gave me the idea. We will not be talking about this video specifically, but he goes over the same types of mechanics and strategies for getting good IVs on Legendaries. The video we're going to be specifically referencing is this video by DGice 6 years ago called Preparations for Resetting for Suicune in Pokemon Colosseum, I believe is the full title there. So let's begin. This is going to be a long form video, but we're going to start by watching through his preparation guide. And we're going to take some notes. I'm hoping I can improve upon this strategy specifically for Suicune. And then just for training purposes to be able to hunt other legendaries in the future. So, let us begin.
I'm currently resetting to get a Suicune with better IVs, but since my current one is pretty good, I may have to reset thousands of times. So I'm really focused on making sure each reset requires the least amount of effort and time. Notice here that I've moved the R disc to the top of the key items, and that this door is already open because I entered the room and then left and saved. For this battle, Feraligatr uses Surf, then Quagsire uses Earthquake to knock out her first 4 Pokemon. The order her Pokemon come out in can be different each time, so Feraligatr has to be in Torrent to knock out her Vileplume. Notice I've moved Surf and Earthquake to the first move, so I can just spam A at the beginning of the battle. Feraligatr's low health guarantees that it'll get knocked out by Earthquake, so it can be replaced with Hariyama to do a seismic toss HP check on Suicune. It's easy to zone out while you're resetting for the 1000th time, but you have to be paying attention during this part because if Seismic Toss shows green health on Suicune, then you want to catch it. But this Shadow Rush will always hit it into the yellow bar, so if you weren't paying attention, you'd have no way to know if it was a good Suicune or not. Quagsire's Yawn may take an extra turn, but it's 100% accurate. Quagsire is holding Macho Brace so that it's slower than Hariyama, although debatably you might want it to be faster or slower than Suicune. Faster would give you more time to look up and see that Suicune has a green health bar before it uses Shadow Rush, while slower means you can use Yawn on it the turn that it wakes up. Netballs have the highest catch rate, get 20 of them just to be safe. To prep this team, I beat the Fennec and Pyrite Colosseums a couple times for cash, and then topped off the Pokemon to level 100 on Mount Battle. Here are some Suicunes I caught, and after that are some things to look out for when prepping this team.
Okay, so that's a lot to unpack. So firstly, the point of this guide is to minimize the time it takes to reset and catch Suicunes with potentially high IVs. He starts by, these are optimization things that I don't really need to get into, but he moves the R disc to the first slot. He moves his attacking moves to the first slot, so he doesn't have to tab over. He can just mash A. What else does he do? He opens the door before he saves, and that is like the outside of battle, outside of team optimization and preparation. I want to talk specifically about the Pokemon he uses and the purpose of each of them. So he starts with Feraligatr. Feraligatr is going to know Surf. He also has Feraligatr at level 100. And Feraligatr, he'll well, let's just keep that there for now. We'll come back to this. The second Pokemon he has is Quagsire. He has Quagsire at level 100. He has Earthquake on this. He mentions having the Macho Brace. This will come into play later. To lower his speed so that the Feraligatr goes first. Kills the first two Pokemon on Venus's team. And then Quagsire uses Earthquake to knock out the Feraligatr. Feraligatr, let's write this down, is also in Torrent range. Yeah, so next, after Quagsire uses Earthquake to kill Feraligatr and two of Venus's Pokemon, then you have Hariyama come out. I think that's how you spell it. Hariyama is level 70 because Hariyama knows Seismic Toss. Seismic Toss does damage equal to the level. So Seismic Toss will always do 70 damage. That's important. We'll circle back to that in a second. But we can, I guess we can talk about it now, I guess makes sense, before we go into actual team building. So that is the strategy without getting into the weeds. Why do we, so Feraligatr uses Surf, knocks out two Pokemon in Torrent range. Quagsire uses Earthquake, kills the other two Pokemon on Venus's team and Feraligatr so that Hariyama can come out for free on the same turn. Now, Hariyama, I'm going to mute him. Hariyama uses Seismic Toss and gets the Suicune down 70 health, which is a green bar. That's important. So I guess let's go into why that's important. We're going to open a showdown page. And I already have these mons prepped because I was preparing this at work today while I was working. Let's go to my teams. Oh, it doesn't save them on the PC. I gotta remake them. That's okay. That's actually fine. We can remake them together. So, we got a Suicune here. Suicune is level 40 in Colosseum. I hope this is big enough. Okay, hopefully that's readable. Anyway, so Suicune is encountered at level 40. And he wants a good HP IV, right? Let's reset all this. So, Suicune at 31 IVs has 142 health. Seismic Toss is going to do 70 damage, which is going to leave Suicune at 72 health, right? So, we're using numbers that he's already pre-planned. We can use our own numbers. For example's sake, well, not for example's sake, I'm going to use numbers that I want. So, I want a Suicune that has at least 25 perfect, 25 IV and HP, right? So Suicune is going to have 140 health if it has an HP IV of 25. If it has 24 or less, it's going to be less than 140 HP. So the reason he set up his Hariyama this way is because a Pokemon's health bar is green at and above 50%. If you want at least a 25 HP IV, then, you know, you're going to have a 70 damage seismic toss, hit the Suicune. If the Suicune has 70 health, it's going to be a green bar. That's a good indication that you can either reset if it's yellow, or you can continue with the process if it's green, catch it, and check its full IV. So basically, this whole thing is about controlling as many variables as possible so you can have a better, like, not waste the time catching a Suicune that's not worth it, that doesn't have the potential to be a good Suicune. If you want to be a little more stingy, I guess the most stingy you could be, you could raise your Hariyama's level to level 71, and then you're eliminating all IVs less than 28. So your green bar Suicune is guaranteed to be a 28 HP or higher IV. I don't want to be that restrictive, so I'm going to keep it at a level 70 Hariyama with a 70 damage seismic toss. So that is why he has seismic toss. So DGice only controls for HP. I'm going to try to swing this into also controlling speed, because you can do a similar style strategy. I want to be able to know if the Suicune is faster or not. And I got this from the other video that I mentioned earlier, specifically about speed. So I want the, you know what? That's the strategy. Feraligatr uses Surf, Quagsire uses Earthquake, Hariyama uses Seismic Toss. If the bar is green, you have that Suicune will have at least 25 IV and HP. Boom. Let's continue. He's going to talk about the team building process. I think we're going to watch it first, and then I'm going to go bit by bit. This is where we're going to need to get all of our numbers from and all of our calculations. So here we go.
Are some things to look out for when prepping this team. Starting at the mayor's house, you need to catch a Makuhita that can evolve into a Hariyama that can reach a speed stat of at least 94.
Okay, I think I'm going to stop and take notes as we go. So Hariyama needs to have 94 or higher speed at level 70. We know this is true. I fact-checked this. I'm checking his numbers as we go. So why does he want 94 speed? You know, a neutral nature Suicune has 85 speed. A minus speed nature has 76 speed. And a positive speed nature has 93 speed, if it's a 31 IV. So let's see if we can figure out why he wants 94. Oh, okay. He wants 94 speed because you always want to outspeed the Suicune. If you don't outspeed the Suicune, he might use Shadow Rush first, and then you use Seismic Toss, and you can't tell if the Suicune has 70 HP or not, because the bar is going to be yellow every time. So you always have to outspeed Suicune. So if Suicune has a 31 IV in speed and a plus speed nature, the highest possible speed Suicune can have is 93. So we want Hariyama to be able to outspeed the fastest possible Suicune at all, right? So yes, fact, that is correct. We do want a 94, at least 94 speed on our Hariyama. Let's continue.
The easiest way to do that is to get a Makuhita with a speed IV of at least 18, and then feed it 4 Carbos. So save before this battle, and if your Makuhita is in at least a speed stat of 25, just reset. Should only take a couple of tries.
Okay. Let's build a Hariyama. Hariyama at level 100. So he says a couple things that I tried to fact check this. I don't think it's true. He says your Hariyama needs to have at least 18 IVs in speed to be able to give it 4 Carbos, which is 40 EVs. And then you will always outspeed the Hariyama if it's caught as a Makuhita with at least 25 speed. So what if we have a minus speed nature? No, wait, but the level has to be level 70. So I did this math earlier and it didn't really check out. You could give it more EVs than he says. He says you only need to give it 40 speed EVs for Carbos. My calculations, even a perfect speed minus speed nature will never have 94 speed. So a neutral nature with 0 IVs can have not with 40 EVs though. So this is all to say, I think a safer strategy to do. What if we have a minus speed Hariyama? Minus speed Hariyama, 0 IVs. At level 70, you still can get a more than 94 speed. So I'm going to simplify this step, and I'm going to say catch any Makuhita and give it 252 speed EVs. If you do this, your Hariyama at level 70 will outspeed Suicune. I mean, that's the simplest way. If you want to be a little more specific and do less EV training, which is slightly complicated to do in Colosseum, we will talk about it, but it is not the simplest thing. You can do the math yourself and figure out, oh, I need a X, XIV Makuhita, well, whatever. You can do your own math. Simply put, even the worst possible 0 IV negative speed nature with 252 speed EVs will outspeed Suicune. Maybe if you really don't want to EV train all the way, you could only do 172 EVs, and that should work for, literally any IV minus speed nature Hariyama will still outspeed. So let's say we'll do this for the math's sake. Give 172 speed EVs minimum. I'm gonna say 252 just to be safe. You don't have to do that. But that's what I will do in practice because I do want to be safe. So, Hariyama's built. This Hariyama will need to outspeed the Quagsire. Check, Quagsire slow. And it's going to outspeed every Suicune no matter what. And it's going to use Seismic Toss and do 70 damage. If you've done that all correctly. Okay, I think we can continue. He says reset until you have a Makuhita with at least 25 speed. If you want to, you can. Maybe it'll save you the peace of mind, but honestly, I think I've calculated it out. Any Makuhita is fine.
Next, you have to face the blue guy to get for Alligator. So switch Makuhita to the front of your party. So for this Feraligatr, the worse its special attack IVs are, the more EVs you'll need. If you catch one with a special attack stat of 50, it guarantees that it's a boosting nature and that you only need 100 EVs in order to KO Vileplume, which is great because Colosseum will say it's not useful if you have more than 100 already.
Okay. I think he meant to say special attack here, not speed. Because we don't care about speed. Wait, what? Maybe he misspoke. Hold on, I'm going to go back.
So for this Feraligatr, the worse its special attack IVs are, the more EVs you'll need. If you catch one with a special attack stat of 50, it guarantees that it's a boosting nature and that you only need 100 EVs in order to KO Vileplume, which is great because Colosseum will say it's not useful if you have more than 100 already.
I'm going to double check Calcium. Calcium increases special attack. Okay, so I think he just mistyped. He typed speed. He's talking about special attack. 2 instances of him talking about special attack. So, I'm not doing any damage calcs. I'm trusting his damage calcs. To put that out there. So, according to him, you need a plus special attack nature and 100 Spatak EVs to be able to one-hit KO the Vileplume. Let's build us a Feraligatr. So, actually, we're going to go down to Croconaw and verify his numbers. Level 30. So he says that you want to guarantee a boosting special attack nature, and he is correct. So if you have a neutral nature, the highest possible special attack this Croconaw can have is 49. So if we give this a plus special attack nature, you're guaranteeing if the Croconaw has 50, it has a positive special attack nature and at least a 19 IV in special attack. So I'm not going to do any damage calcs, but let's assume that's our minimum, right? We need a plus special attack nature and 100 special attack EVs. I wonder why I can only give it. So let's change this back to Feraligatr now. Level 100. So we're going to give this a 19 IV and 100 special attack and a positive special attack nature. So let's trust his numbers. You need a minimum of 227 special attack stat to KO the Vileplume. And what are you doing by KOing the Vileplume? You're saving yourself a turn, which is making the reset faster, right? So we can simplify this. You can trust his numbers or not. Let's just max this out. What did I say? 227. I could write this down. Let's put minimum 227 Spatak stat. So what if we have a 0 IV? What if we have a 0 IV Feraligatr? We can still hit 227. But I guess you're guaranteeing. What does that mean? Does it have to be Does it have to be? What if it's a negative nature? Minus attack. Okay, you cannot reach 227 with a minus nature. Ah, interesting. And you cannot reach 227 with a neutral nature. So his numbers are checking out once again. So you do have to have the positive special attack to make this work. Well, to guarantee it works. If you have a minus attack nature and oh, that's plus. If you have a minus attack nature and you have perfect IVs, you can reach that, but we can't account for that. So let's throw this at. We know we're gonna control for 19 IVs. We're gonna control for special attack. Let's just give. I mean, you don't have to. I'm gonna give this guy 252 special attack just to be safe. So, and that's all we need for Feraligatr. Feraligator's gonna already know Surf. We need to pre-damage it a little bit to get it into torrent range before we start doing encounters. We need to guarantee a plus special attack nature. Give it at least 100 special attack EVs. So we need to do 50 special attack stat. I'm gonna say on catch to guarantee nature, and I guess just nature to guarantee nature. Hopefully the notes are. Maybe I'll clean this up later in the short version we do later. Okay, I think we're good with Feraligatr. Let's continue to the Quagsire.
This is where you get Quagsire. Quagsire's attack stat's pretty high, so its Shadow Rush is useful for the next 20 battles or so. The lady next to him is pretty great for special attack EV training, so I just take her Skiploom to get it out of the way. The dual square trainer's Pokemon get stronger each time after you beat a Cypher leader. After Dakeem, she gets Sunflora, so she gives out 50% more EVs, but you want to wait until at least after Mirror B so you have the Macho Brace. What you do is you lead with Feraligatr and Espeon, and then you switch out Feraligatr while Espeon knocks out the rest of them, so Feraligatr doesn't get any of the Dust Top EVs. Once the battle's over, you can go into the windmill building, come back out, and do the battle again. Make sure you grab the TM and the Macho Brace before talking to Plusle, because it'll warp you out of the cave.
Okay, so he was talking about how to EV train. He mentioned the lady. I'll go more into depth with this in a minute, but he talks about the lady who has an Oddish and a Sunflora to train special attack that is going to be required for Feraligatr. And he doesn't talk about any of the other stat. He doesn't talk about speed. He also doesn't name any EV requirement for the Quagsire. So I'm not really as smart with damage calcs, so I'm not gonna do it. But I'm gonna trust his work and his method. He shows it, so it works. I'm gonna trust that we don't need any attack EVs on Quagsire for the Earthquake. We're gonna revise his EV training strategy as well.
You can buy the vitamins in a gate village. I recommend selling your TMs. You can get bonus TMs from the first 4 rounds of each of the Colosseums. Then the last thing to show you is where to get the XP share. My advice is to use it on Feraligatr to get him up high first, and then use him to carry Quagsire and Hariyama. Also, don't let the playtime reach 99.59, because the RNG will freeze and you'll be stuck with the same Suicune on each reset. That was a frustrating thing to figure out.
Okay, that's the end of the video. So, I'll put this at the bottom. Everything we do for preparation must be completed before 999 59 hours. You should not take this long. This is not a concern unless you leave your game on or something. So, this is his strategy. For Alligator, positive special attack nature, special attack EVs. Quagsire, just level 100. Hariyama, level 70, at least 94 speed. I want to add one more control to his reset, which is I want to add a control for the speed. So let's go back over to Suicune. I think I want a Suicune with... What did I say? I made a note. I want a Suicune with at least 82 speed. What is 82 speed? It's just my number. You can do a different number and do your own math with it. I think a 23 speed IV is fine. I'm not smart, by the way. Like, I've not done the battle tower. I'm not aiming for specific IVs for any reason other than, like, I just want to do it. It's cool. I want a good one, right? If there's a calculation you need in the battle tower that you need, like, specifically 28 speed, do that. I'm just trying to get a good one that is good enough for me to be mid, basically. So 82 speed is going to guarantee that your Suicune is not a minus speed nature, which is not on purpose. It's kind of a consequence of this number. If your Suicune is a neutral nature, it's going to be, you know, at least 23 IVs. And if it is a positive speed nature, it's going to be at least 5 IVs. So if you only want if you specifically want a timid Suicune, I would bump this speed number that you're aiming for maybe like to 90 or something. I guess let me explain the natures that I desire on a Suicune. I basically want anything that's minus attack, I think is what I'm going for. So I'm going for bold, positive defense minus attack, because Suicune doesn't use his attack. I think it's the most beneficial. So I want a bold nature, a calm nature, which is plus special defense minus attack, or a modest nature, plus special attack minus attack, or I think my least desirable, but I would also accept a timid nature, which is positive speed minus attack. So 4 out of 25 natures is what we're aiming for, right? And one of them, if it's a timid Suicune, then the speed IV could potentially be low. But we're controlling for as much as we can within reason, right? So let's just pretend this is modest. So if we get a modest Suicune, we want that Suicune to have at least 82 speed. So let's go build our Quagsire now. Oh, I did a lot of math earlier for this Quagsire. So there's 2 ways to get a Quagsire with 81 speed. You want your speed stat to be 1 less than the target speed stat because you want Suicune to outspeed you as an indication, this is a fast Suicune, this is one I want to catch. So we want our Quagsire to have exactly 81 speed. There's two ways to do that. You can make your Quagsire. I'll start with the maybe the more simple one. You can make your Quagsire minus speed nature and give it a really low IV. So you can give it a minus speed nature and, you know, let's just say a low. If we have, let's say we have a 0 IV speed, right? With EV training, we can still get it to 82, okay? The minus speed nature and perfect stats, we cannot get 82. It's too fast. So your Quagsire has to be a minus speed nature, and it has to be minimum. What is the minimum IV here? I guess maximum is the number I'm looking for, right? It can be a minus speed nature with a maximum of 17 IVs. So I'm gonna make the first Quagsire. This is the slow Quagsire. And we're gonna delete Macho Brace for now. So Quagsire has to be. Did I already establish it has to be a minus speed nature? Because a neutral nature. Oh, no, I lied. Neutral nature, technically, you could do it. I think it's going to come down to the control. How do we know our Quagsire has the right stats? For simplicity, we're going to say minus speed nature. I forget how I did the math. Hold on. What level do we catch Quagsire at? What level to catch Quagsire Colosseum? Quagsire is level 30. Okay. So Quagsire at level 30. What does this give us? No EVs. So you're catching the Quagsire, it's gonna have like a 26, between 26 and 35 speed on neutral, or 23 to 31 on negative. So how are we gonna control for this? We're gonna look. What did I say? The lowest possible speed on a neutral nature is 26. So we're going to guarantee ourselves we get a minus speed nature by when we catch our Feraligatr, or not, I'm sorry, when we catch our Quagsire, it's going to have 25 speed. If it has 25 or less speed, it's guaranteed to be a minus speed nature. So then we go, our maximum speed IV that we will catch is going to be 9. Because if it's well, actually, yeah, I mean, if it's a minus speed nature, but the IVs are high, we can't guarantee it. It could be neutral. We don't know. So that's kind of good, though, because we're guaranteeing, so our maximum speed IV is 9, guaranteeing a slow Quagsire, right? So let's go back to level 100 now. So we know our IV is going to be 9. So, you know, if it's 9, we're going to give it 32 speed IVs to get it up to 82. If it's 0, we're going to give it 68 EVs to make it 82. So minus speed nature, we're going to write catch at 25 or less speed stat. And I'm going to just reconfirm my numbers because I have short-term memory loss. Yeah. 9, 25. Yeah. So if we've done that, we're still not going to know exactly how many EVs we need to give it. But, you know, down the road, you're going to have to calc exactly the IVs that your Quagsire has, because the speed has to be exactly correct. Unlike the special attack for Feraligatr and the speed for Hariyama, the speed on Quagsire has to be exactly 82 to be able to control for a Suicune with at least a 25 speed IV in speed. So that's going to have to come after. But I guess for the sake of... That's interesting. How will we know? Maybe we can't know. Or what you do, or you give it 32 speed EVs, and then maybe you have to go down a level and you just have to wait. You know, if you get your Quagsire to level 94, maybe you just be safe and you just don't level it up to 100. But you can't level it up until you EV train it, because the EVs will get messed up. Maybe this is the hard part. You have to finagle this to be exactly 82. And which is where I don't know if the damage calc comes in, if it has to be 100 or not to make it work out. I guess what you would do, you would have to assume your IV is 0, give it 68 speed EVs, and then, like, how would that work? You still can't guarantee. Maybe this will come to me later, but can I check his... Did he have a Quagsire? Did he catch a Quagsire? I don't think he showed his... He didn't show Quagsire's stats. He didn't, right? No, he showed Makuhita.
Useful for the next 20 battles or so. Which is great because Colosseum... This is where you get Quagsire. Quagsire's attack stat's pretty high, so its Shadow Rush is useful for the next 20 battles or so. The lady next to him is pretty great for special attack EV training, so I just take her Skiploom to get...
He doesn't show. I guess we could maybe do a test later, like I'll catch a Quagsire and see if we can calc the speed. There's gotta be a way to do this. Let's assume it has... Maybe we need to assume it has 9 speed. And then, you know, 48. Let's see. Level 100. See if I can work this out. If it has 9 speed, you give it 32 speed EVs. But what if it's level 99? It's gonna be missing one. And then if the IVs are low, it's gonna be also missing. You can't overshoot it. So I guess you just have to play it by ear. What if I... Okay, hold on. I got this. 100. It's got 0 speed EVs. We give it 68. And then what is... So we can overshoot by 8. So now let's go down a level. What's the minimum level? 90? 91, 92. 91. So maybe this would work. So You always give it 68 EVs in speed, and you level it up to 91, and then you have to check, is it 82 yet? And if it is, you stop, and if it's not, you go to 92. And, you know, that means you have a lower IV. And then if it's not 82 yet, you go to level 93. And that means it's a 7. And if it's not 82 yet, you go to 94. I think, does it just work one stat at a time per level? I think that's how it works, because that's how math works. Okay, let me write this down before I forget. So, at level 91, so we're going to give exactly 68 speed EV. And sorry that took so long to figure out, but I guess working that out was worth something. So give exactly 68 speed EVs, level to 91, and check. Check if stat is 82. If not, continue leveling until speed stat is 82. And then I guess you just pray that the damage calc works at level 91, I guess. I don't really know what else to do. Maybe we can supplement this by giving it attack EVs. He doesn't specify. Well, let's do this. Let's check Quagsire's attack at level 100 with minimum IVs and minimum EVs. So I guess we can assume that the worst possible Quagsire with 0 IVs and 0 EVs minus attack nature. So does it only require a 157 stat? So what if, so we already know we're going to have a minus speed nature. So we can't have a, oh, I need to go back and write that down. So let's see, 157 attack stat minimum. So we're going to have a minus speed nature, guaranteed, right? Because we're slow. And I guess it doesn't matter, because, oh no, but at 91. So let's go down to 91 now. 159. Okay, so a level 91 Quagsire with 0 attack, IVs, or EVs has a higher attack stat than a minus attack nature at level 100. So it shouldn't matter. We don't have to give it attack EVs at all. We just need to focus on the speed. Okay, so that doesn't matter. So we don't have to worry about attack. Attack is what it is. Okay. That's good, because I was worried about the damage calc. Theoretically, it should be fine. The other option... Oh, no, let me finish. So we've given it exactly 68 speed EVs. The important thing will be to absolutely not accidentally give it more speed EVs. And this is the part that will take forever, because 510 minus 68, because I suck at math, 510 minus 68 is 442. So you have to give 442 other EVs. I'll just say EVs of any kind, because you have to max out his EVs to be able to grind levels and not mess up his speed, right? So those are the numbers. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Tyler from the future here. I go into a second build of Quagsire, which is based off of making it super fast and then using the Macho Brace to half it down to 82 speed. I'm cutting this part out because it turns out it's just more complicated, and then down the road I'll explain why the slower one is easier in the first place, so just don't worry about that. I'm going to mention it a couple times. Just forget it, okay? And I think that does it. I think that does it for the 2 Quagsire methods. I hope that wasn't too complicated. You're basically going to the fastest possible Quagsire and having the speed with a Macho Brace, or you're going the slowest possible Quagsire and just hitting 82 speed. So it doesn't matter which one you do. But your Quagsire has 82 speed. So why are we, did I explain why we're doing 82 speed? So we've basically added another variable, another controlled variable to the Suicune. So let me go back to this guy. So the strategy, right? And I'm going to mute him while he does this. So assuming we have all these 3 Pokemon built, we're going to engage Venus. She sends out her Pokemon random, by the way, which is why we have to account for every combination, technically. So we're going to send out our Pokemon. For Alligators and Torrent and Quagsire. For Alligator's going to use Surf. Quagsire's going to use Earthquake. For Alligator, let's check. For Alligator, with a positive special attack, we're going to have to invest... We have to invest 16 speed into for Alligator. And that just guarantees if we get a 0 IV speed for Alligator... I'm sorry, let me make this 20. We guarantee to outspeed Quagsire. We don't want to be slower than Quagsire, so give it 20 speed EVs. Let me backtrack. So for Alligator and Torrent, Quagsire. For Alligator, uses Surf. Quagsire uses Earthquake. For Alligator goes first, knocks out 2 Pokemon. She sends out the other 2. Quagsire goes second, kills for Alligator and the other 2 Pokemon. And then you can send in Hariyama for free. I didn't mention this. Quagsire also is going to know Yawn. I guess that's assumed, but we'll do Surf and Yawn. She's going to send in Suicune. Hariyama's going to use Seismic Toss. Quagsire is free to use Yawn. If the Suicune has green bar, it guarantees that Suicune has at least 25 IVs in HP. Will Hariyama outspeed the Quagsire? No. Hariyama will go first. Hariyama will go first, guaranteed. If Suicune has green bar, it has good HP. Now is the part. So if Suicune goes second, it has a good speed IV because we accounted for all the variables. Your Quagsire has the minimum threshold, right? If Quagsire goes second, then Suicune's speed is bad and you can reset. I should have also meant, let me backtrack 2 seconds. So Hariyama uses Seismic Toss. If Suicune's health is not green, reset. If Suicune's health is green, it's good HP, continue. If Suicune goes second, it has good speed. If Quagsire goes second, it has bad speed, you can reset. So at this point, if Suicune had green bar before using Shadow Rush, and if Suicune went before the Quagsire, because Quagsire used Yawn, then you may catch the Suicune. And you have accounted for at least two things. You know if you catch this Suicune, it's going to have good HP and good speed. And then you're rolling the dice on everything else. You're rolling the dice on the nature. It's going to be a 4 out of 21 chance because you're eliminating the minus speed natures. So it's a 4 out of 21 chance that it's a nature you want, a nature that I want. You can do your own calculations if you wish. And then it is a pretty good chance it has good speed. It either has good speed and a not timid nature, or it has a range of speed, but it's guaranteed timid. And then, you're rolling the dice on attack, which you don't care about. You're rolling the dice on defense, special attack, special defense. So that's the thing. We're doing all this work, all this preparation. We're EV training. We're leveling up our Pokemon in a game that is very slow. All to control 2 out of 6 variables, I think. So yeah, this is going to take a long time. But every second counts. That's why we're doing this. If you can reset right after the second attack and not have to catch the Suicune, go to the... I guess you could just check its stats, maybe, and do an IV calc there. Or go to the Purifying Stone and purify it and check its actual nature and stuff like that. So you're basically giving yourself a chance to reset and save time before you waste time checking a Suicune that is not going to be satisfactory for you in the first place. So that's the plan. So now that we got a plan, let me make this a little prettier. So this is the good Suicune plan. And what are we accounting for? Suicune with minimum IVs in HP and speed. You just can't account. You maybe if you're a genius, you can do like some damage calculation stuff and estimate damage rolls and try to account for attack, defense, special attack, special defense, whatever. We're not going to do that. So my Suicune is going to be... It's going to be 25 HP minimum. Don't care about attack. I would love to have at least... I think... What did I write down? I wrote it earlier. 20 defense. I think I wrote 25 special attack. Oopsie. 20 Spidef. And I think I said what? 25 speed, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I don't care about the attack because I'm not planning on using the attack stat. So you're eliminating 2, oh, and nature, plus, 4 out of 21 natures, right? So these are the odds. I don't know if my math is right. I did some calculations. So what is the chance? How did I word this? The chance of getting a Suicune with these stats, if my math is correct, is 1 in 10,000. By controlling 2 of the variables, you basically get this down to 1 in 1,000. Depending on how lenient I want to be. I mean, maybe I get a good HP, good special attack, good speed, but maybe like the defense is like 5. Maybe I'll be okay with that. Just in general, the odds. This is going to be a long process. There's no way to control for nature in Gen 3. There is in Gen 4, but this isn't Gen 4 now, is it? We're working with the Gen 3 Battle Tower. So, yeah, it's a process, but, every minute counts. And that's why I found the DGice's video so fascinating, because he's committed to the grind. We didn't talk about RNG manipulation or anything like that. That's a totally separate topic that I didn't even want to bother mentioning, and here I am mentioning it. But you're doing this in a more legit fashion. So, any second saved is more encounters, basically. Similar to shiny hunting, I'm a glutton for very small odds of dopamine hitting me. So, I like shiny hunting now and then. I like doing things because it's extra and cool. I think it's like a game to me in itself to plan out something like this. So everything you learned here today, I hope was helpful. You can apply these strategies to other legendaries in other games. I think up to the most modern games, technically, although it's definitely easier to catch and reset maybe in a different way. The reason we're doing this in Colosseum in the first place is because Fire Red and Leaf Green have glitched Gen 2 roamers, so they are guaranteed to have trash stats, which you could theoretically play the Battle Frontier with a trash stat Suicune and probably be fine, and probably get your 100 wins. But it's fun to kind of min-max sometimes. I'm definitely a min-maxer kind of guy. So, yeah, moral of the story, controlling for HP is easy. Controlling for speed, a little more difficult, but is possible. And then controlling for stuff like nature is easier later, not in Gen 3. And then controlling for attack, defense, special attack, special defense is possible, but it's way more random, and it's a wider variety of variables to deal with, because damage is not always... Damage already has a role within it, like the same attack can do plus or minus like 20% damage, I think, something like that. So that's my plan. I will make a shorter, more concise, do this step-by-step guide, and you're going to trust my numbers in that guide because of the work we've done here today. If you have any corrections, let me know. If you have any stories or personal experience with controlling stats with legendaries, specifically in Gen 3 or 4, let me know. Other gens, that's cool too. If there's any other legendaries you want me to work out the stats to do, let me know. Entei is hard because you don't have access to Mount Battle yet, so you can't really level grind, and it would just suck. Maybe you could do this for Raikou. That might be fun to do, actually. Maybe one day. So, yeah, thank you. If you actually watched this whole thing, thank you. I hope it was interesting for you. And good luck on your good IV hunts and stuff. I'm going to probably write this up. Maybe should I write this up and put it in like a document or something? Maybe, or I don't know. I guess it's here. Hopefully it's readable. That's it. I guess, have fun. Pokemon is fun. Bye.